what are some of the dumb things that the dumbest things, that you see people do where, as the security professional, it drives you nuts, and it's what drives you because you have a heart, for helping people. What are some of the things that we can share, and educate people on?
Yeah, I mean, look, like you mentioned, it's, we don't want to call people stupid, but I and even as a professional, just to be kind of add some humility to it, even as a professional, there are things out there that I've gotten tricked into as well. And so I am fully aware that, nobody is invincible. Like this guy behind my shoulder, he has a lot of money and armor and what have you to protect himself. We don't always have that. And the best thing we can do is continually be vigilant and protect ourselves. So, I had one today. We had a client who responded to their boss saying, "Hey, I got this. I can't open this proposal." And it was a link that was sent to them, and sure enough, it was a phishing attempt to get their Office 365 credentials. They happen to be on vacation, and we do, what we do. We lock it down to prevent the spread. And if their boss didn't alert us to it, we may not have necessarily picked up on it. Fortunately, our techs did pick up on it because we noticed some other odd activities on the account. That being said, we know that people are sending links around and not taking a few seconds to check, where did it come from? Does it match? Is the website link that they're putting, does it look like it's a Microsoft site? It's a .ru. You should not be clicking on it. And so there's
Hmm.
that's certainly, that was a glaring thing, at least for me, that look this it screamed that this was a bad link. So I mean, I probably put that at the top of my list. Um,
Hmm.
you were mentioning passwords and password managers. It's funny, like we work with finance people, very smart, very intelligent people, and sometimes I don't know if it's hubris, laziness, whatever, reusing the same passwords, same simple passwords over and over again, is it definitely that definitely gets in my craw for sure.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the phishing. I just was flying back from Orlando, Florida, and I counted three different phishing attempts, three different ways. I had it on my cell phone, I had it in my email, and I even had a phone call. And I'm not interested in the 50% off Comcast discount. No, thank you. In fact, I don't even have a Comcast account, so it doesn't really apply to me, but sure sounds interesting. And, that would be, what do they say, vishing, versus phishing, because it's voice, where they want me to call them. And for all I know, they want to record my voice and use AI to, go out and tell people things that aren't really coming out of my mouth. That's kind of scary. Um, or I got the text, and I forget the context of it, but I know I took some screenshots because I see these things all the time, and I like to be able to refer back to them. But I'm kind of a one-track brain, and I'm looking at that as I'm waiting for the flight to depart. And I thought, yeah, no, sorry, you didn't get me, that time. But as you said, I'm not, invincible. Some of these things look pretty like, oh, I wonder if I really did need to, like address that.
Yeah.
And then the
Did I really order that thing on Amazon, or did I really whatever? Absolutely.
Did I
yeah,
win
Absolutely.
that big prize?
yeah, yeah, they really pique your curiosity.
Of course.
And then I had one where we actually do use PayPal in our business, and we do use it internationally in our business. And I had one that said, "Hey, we noticed some suspicious activity, international activity." And I'm thinking, you know what? I mean, it's Tuesday. I know that my admin was just in there Monday. Like, wonder if there's something sneaky going on with the account. and I hover over the URL, and it's like, hey, we want to get your login sucker.com, like, yeah, well, no, sorry, you didn't get me there. And so, yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. You got to be weary of what it is that you're clicking on, you know.
What it is that I think if we have our faculties together, most of the time they're fairly easy to spot. The problem is that you were saying it. I'm traveling. I'm on my phone. I don't see the full details. I'm in a rush. I'm about to board a plane, whatever. And now
Mhm.
the next thing you know, you're like, all right, let me quickly do this thing, and then you get
Mhm.
suckered in. And it's
Yep.
and that's the thing. It plays on that emotion. It plays on that, and then the urgency to deal with it. Oh, your account's gonna be closed if you don't do this thing. Um, those are tells, but if you're in that emotional state, it's very easy to get fooled.
Well,
Absolutely.
and look, we're involved in this field, so it's very much in our forefront. So it is very easy to understand how difficult it is for somebody who they're not an IT person, they're a doctor or they're a lawyer or they're uh, some other profession that they spend their time focusing in on their profession and the things that are going on around them. And here we are, we're in IT, and it takes you aside sometimes. Is this real? Is this not? And so if we have to make questions about whether it's a legitimate email link message, users, I mean, and that's without even going down to the basic talk where we're talking about passwords and the silly things that you see as you go along. Um, I think it's been probably a couple of years since I've seen password 1234, but I have seen it.
Hmm.
Passwords under keyboards. I still find those all over the place. Keyboard stickies on monitors, all of those things. Um, and you're right. I mean, even password managers. I probably for the last decade, I've been faithful. Knew every site has its own password, but before that, I knew as an IT professional, I knew that I was assuming a risk by reusing passwords among various websites. And they typically were things that had to have some sort of a reference. I feel like I tried to keep them complex, but they had to have something to stick so I could remember them. And yeah, for the last decade now, they're totally randomized. I think now I'm up to a minimum of 16 characters, up to 22, depending on the service I'm using.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, everything. And I've tried to impress this on my spouse as well. Every site can't be the same. You can't have it in a list. We need to use the password managers. And oh, by the
Yep.
way, if it's something that both of us need to get into, I can share it with you securely. And it's an education, and users. Many of them are way beyond that, way behind in that. So